Good morning. Welcome to the live streaming worship service of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. I'm Bonnie McFarland, a member of the worship committee, and I will be one of your worship associates today. You will also hear the voices of Grace Preuss, Diana Rowe, and Adam Wedeking. We invite you to worship with us with an open mind and an open heart. As we enter into sacred time created by our presence and shared intent, I invite you to get comfortable, turn down your phones or other distracting devices. Make a conscious decision to set aside for this 1 hour the self-protective walls we all keep around our heart and our thoughts. Let us remember and explore together what has drawn us to this faith, or learn what this faith is about. And relax. Let the stresses of the outside world slip away as together we focus on this time together. And together we breathe. Although we are now a community connected largely by electronic means, one day we will be together again. Yet even now we are those seekers with the yearnings to learn, to understand, to make the world a better place, and with the same desire for fellowship. And so we are here seeking that living, interconnected web of which we are a part. Let go of the anxiety, the fears, the expectations of your own or others' making, and join us in this hour of beloved community. And so together we breathe. Our opening hymn this morning is "We Laugh, We Cry." Please join us in spirit, and because we are Zooming this, nobody will know if you sing off key.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from dream to living, love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night.
For our call to worship, I invite you to read with me the mission statement of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. February is Black History Month. Probably most of you remember the name Shirley Chisholm. She was the first Black woman elected to the United States Congress. She represented New York's 12th congressional district for 7 terms, from 1969 to 1983. In 1972, she became the first woman to run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. Her campaign slogan was "Unbought and Unbossed." In January 2019, then Senator Kamala Harris announced her run for the presidency, just 3 days short of 47 years after Shirley Chisholm's announcement. At that time, Kamala Harris was only the second African-American woman to ever serve in the United States Senate. There are none currently serving in the United States Senate now. Bobbie Ebony Butts is the mother of 4 children, and she says she works diligently daily to rise above her past and to create a path to a successful future for herself and her children. Bobbie received a general equivalent diploma from Chattanooga Community College in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and she earned a diploma in business office administration from United Education Institute, more commonly known as UEI. Bobbie is a criminal and social justice policy advocate in Riverside County and is part of key organizations zealously advocating for changes in policies that systematically oppress people who have been convicted of crimes. Bobbie is employed as a project coordinator for Starting Over Incorporated, which focused on a project called Family Reunification, Equity, and Empowerment. Her role is to help families navigate the child welfare system and to help parents reunify with their loved ones who are languishing in foster care. Many of us experience family love in different ways and forms. We should always lead with love, but many don't know how to love because we continue to struggle with depression, issues of trust, pain, and hate deep in our hearts. It's easy for someone to say forget and forgive if they've never walked in our shoes. But having kids and not being able to show them love will only lead to the vicious cycle of creating more damaged, depressed adults. Some wounds are harder to heal by adulthood, and the no family love cycle continues.
Hi, I'm Grace, and there are a few announcements we would like to share with you today. During the service, we will mention several website and email addresses and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all this information, and it is available on our website. However, for those needing the information by auditory means, they will be announced verbally during the service. Chat time provides an opportunity to spend an hour talking among ourselves, usually beginning with the service, then wandering on to other topics. It's held on Zoom at 11:30. But to participate, you need a separate Zoom link. So please go to our website at uuchurchofriverside.org for the Zoom chat time link. Now, our Social and Environmental Justice Committee Chair, Adam Wedeking, has some important announcements.
Yeah, good morning. First of all, today is our Social and Environmental Justice Committee meeting at 1 o'clock, so please join us. You can check out the website for the link, or it should have been in the email you got this morning with the link for the service, if you got that email. We're going to be talking about a number of things, but one is really important. The Riverside County Board of Supervisors is considering a resolution to support ACA 3, which would remove the involuntary servitude clause from the California State Constitution, Article 1, Section 6. Right now, Article 1, Section 6 of the California Constitution reads, slavery is prohibited. Involuntary servitude is prohibited except to punish crime. ACA 3 will amend that to read, slavery and involuntary servitude are prohibited, period. No exceptions, no loopholes. In California, there is very little difference between the ownership of human beings pre-1865 to post-1865. We are subjected to the same practices of forced labor. Our society once depended on forced labor from African people as property. Today, their descendants are disproportionately impacted by the criminal justice system through the over-policing of marginalized communities and the enhanced sentences imposed. Simply enlarging the net to include more than African people does not justify slavery by another name. Any and all forms of slavery should be prohibited. In California, our Constitution should reflect a legal and moral baseline against involuntary servitude and any other vestiges of slavery. Check out the Social and Environmental Justice Committee website under Take Action so you can learn how to speak at this meeting. This is a meeting that's going to be held on Tuesday. Because of their rules, you have to submit that you want to call into the meeting 24 hours before the meeting. So today, if you want to speak Tuesday morning, today, check out the website. There's a link where you can fill out the form that you want to speak. And there's also some talking points you can read before you actually call in. And make sure all the instructions are on the webpage on how to fill out that form and how to speak and what the talking points are. This is really, really important for Riverside County to make this statement. Seems really easy to say that we're against slavery, but it might not be that easy. So we really need to tell our representatives in the Board of Supervisors that we want this supported, that Riverside supports ending slavery, period. No exceptions, no loopholes. So that's it for me. I will turn it back over to Grace for the rest of the announcements.
Thank you, Adam. The monthly UUCR newsletter comes out the first of every month by email and per request by postal mail. If you have something you would like covered or that you want to write, let Dinah know at ramblinrose22@yahoo.com or call or text her at 909-645-2885. If you haven't received the newsletter and would like to be added to our mailing list, please contact Dinah or the church office. In Riverside County and all of Southern California region, the ICU availability continues to be at 0.0%. There were 815 positive cases reported in Riverside County as of Friday. Vaccinations are prioritized according to age and risk. A portion of the California population can get vaccinated now, and the rest should have access by this spring. Every Californian can sign up at myturn.ca.gov or call 833-422-4255 to see if it's their turn to get the COVID-19 vaccine. If you're not currently eligible, you can sign up to be notified when it's your turn. There are several other options as well. For more information, go to our website and look on the homepage under On Reopening. Black History Month. Onesimus introduced inoculation to America. Onesimus was born in the late 17th century somewhere in Africa, but in 1706 it was recorded that he was given as a gift to the Puritan church minister Cotton Mather from his congregation. In 1716, Onesimus told Mather about the centuries-old tradition of inoculation practiced in Africa. By extracting the material from an infected person and scratching it into the skin of an uninfected person, you could deliberately introduce smallpox to the healthy individual, making them immune. Mather convinced Dr. Zabdiel Boylston to experiment with the procedure in 1721 when a smallpox epidemic hit Boston. Only 2% of those so inoculated died, compared to 15% of the general population. However, there was political, religious, and medical opposition, much of it racially motivated, in the United States and abroad, putting Mather and Boylston's lives in danger. Nevertheless, Onesimus's traditional African practice was used to inoculate American soldiers during the Revolutionary War and introduced the concept of inoculation to the United States. We have two lightings of sacred flames. The first is the occupied Indigenous peoples' remembrance candle. The second is the lighting of our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. Let us acknowledge that we walk upon the traditional territories of the Maranga, the original people of this land who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. In honor of the Maranga people, we, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light this sacred flame as the stewards of this sacred and holy place. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dream of a world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. We light this chalice to celebrate the inherent worth and dignity of every person, to reaffirm the historic pledge of liberal religion to seek that justice which transcends mere legality and moves toward the resolution of true equality, and to share that love which is ultimately beyond even our cherished reason, that love which unites us. That was the chalice lighting on Inherent Worth and Dignity by Steve Stock.
Close.
Sharing joys and concerns is an important part of belonging to this beloved community. On the first Sunday of each month, we share the joys and concerns that we have received from you throughout the month. Please be sure to email or text your joys and concerns throughout the month to Dinah Rowe, our Caring Network Coordinator. You can call or text her at 909-645-2885. On the first Sunday of each month, we place a stone in our water chalice to represent the joys and concerns we have shared with our church community, and in recognition of those we hold close and have not shared. Concerns. Last month, it was reported that Bill Rowe was in the hospital. He was ultimately diagnosed with multiple myeloma. Janice Levi fell and was in the hospital recently. We place a symbolic stone in our water chalice for the concerns shared and in recognition of all those held close and not shared. Joys. Bill Rowe received his first chemotherapy treatment this week. It was a low-dose injection, and he's feeling well with no side effects. Janice Levi is out of the hospital now and would enjoy phone calls. There's an anonymous joys and concerns that was submitted this week, and I will read that now. Joy for having known my friend while you were here. Sadness for having to let you pass on. And gratitude for the spirit you shared with us. It is said that a joy shared is multiplied. We place a symbolic stone in our water chalice for the joys we have shared and all those we have not.
I was looking up some information for Black History Month, and it brought back a personal memory. Did you know that interracial marriage in this country was banned in 1664 and not overturned until 1967? Now, depending on how old you are, that might seem like a long time ago, or for some of us, it might seem absurdly recent. In 1967, Richard Loving, a white man, and Mildred Jeter, a Black woman, were married in the District of Columbia. When they returned home to Virginia, they were arrested and convicted of violating the state's anti-miscegenation law. They each faced a year in jail, and their case went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court found in favor of the Lovings in the famous trial, Loving versus Virginia. They ruled that prohibiting interracial marriage on state and local levels was unconstitutional. This meant that marriages between the races were legal in the country for the first time since 1664. In 1967, that same year, I was engaged to a wonderful Black man. He lived in Washington, D.C., and I lived in Lansing, Michigan. And it was legal in both of those places. As I look back, there were so many things of which I was blissfully unaware. In the year 2000, very recently, Alabama became the last state to officially legalize interracial marriage. Amazing, and disgraceful. Now, Dinah Rowe, our church treasurer, will speak with us about sharing our treasure.
This portion of our service is about funding all that we do to care for our congregation and our beloved historic church. You may mail your donations and your pledges to the church office. Checks only, please. The church address is shown here. And also an easy way you can donate to the church is to scan the QR code with your phone on the right of this slide. I will add it to the newsletter also. A reminder that even though the church is not allowed to reopen at this time, the church expenses continue. Just a few of the expenses which are ongoing are the utilities and the insurance. Our administrator, Robert, pays the bills and answers inquiries to the church, plus other items which come up on a daily basis. We have Stater Brothers cards for your grocery shopping that also earns our church a percentage. Please contact me or the church office to purchase Stater Brothers cards. My email address is shown here and the church email address is shown. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity, and to those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. Our next hymn is From You I Receive. Please rise again in spirit and join us. We will sing this through 3 times.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, from this we live.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Our meditation today is entitled Listening with the Heart by Reverend Gary Kowalski. Maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all. Maybe it means just listening. Unplugging the TV, turning off the computer, quieting the mental chatter and distractions. Maybe it means listening to the birds and the insects, the wind and the leaves, the creaking and groaning of the trees. Noticing who else is out there, not far away, but nearby, sitting so still we can hear our heartbeat, watch our breath, the gentle whoosh of air, the funny noises from our own insides, marveling at the body we take so much for granted. Maybe it means listening to our dreams, paying more attention to what we really want from life, and less attention to all the nagging, scolding voices from our past. Or maybe it's all about listening to each other, not thinking ahead to how we can answer or rebut or parry or advise or admonish, but actually being present to each other. Perhaps if we just sit quietly, we'll overhear a piece whispering through the centuries that's missing from the clamor of the moment. Maybe prayer means listening to the silences between the words, noticing the negativity of space, the vast, undifferentiated, and nameless wonder that underlies it all. Maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all, but listening with the heart to the angel choirs all around us. Those who have ears, let them hear. Now let us share a moment of silence together. And now I'm pleased to welcome Bobbie Butts to our virtual podium. Bobbie?
Bobbie, we can't hear you right now. Doesn't say you're muted, but I don't know if your microphone is turned off.
Hello? Hello, everybody. I do apologize. I wanted you guys to be able to see me a little bit better, so I was trying to be in the yard. Can you guys hear me? I know you can't really see me, but the computer tried to die. Oh my God. Let me try to see.
We can hear you.
Okay. Do apologize. Always technical difficulties. I'm trying to get it to where you guys could see me some without this computer dying on me. Okay, so thank you guys once again for allowing me to come and share your guys' sacred space and talk about the issues about family love and some things surrounding it. So first, I would just like to say, in the context of family love, the term refers to bonds characterized by deep affection, respect, loyalty, and healthy attachment. Family relationships are different from other types of bonds. What is family? It isn't necessarily about the blood relationships. A group of people that function as a unit. What is love? A word that is used in so many ways feels like it's lost its value over the years. Through the lens of formerly incarcerated people that have been affected by the child welfare system, by family separation. People change, our bodies, our moods, our minds, our friends, our families, and we can love our families even more because of characteristics that stand out, that make you feel like you belong with them every time you're with them. It isn't easy to say, it is easy to say, I love my family, but family is more than these simple words. Um, Family love is more than these simple words. It comes with unique feelings, behaviors, challenges, and rewards. So having attachment to families through funny quirks, beauty marks, mutual behaviors, body language, height, um, you'll never forget them and how the way they make you feel. When the war on drugs was ushered in by the Reagan administration, it hit poverty-stricken communities hard with no real-time solutions or resources, ending up with a lot of Black and brown families, children left in a system that is not designed to parent, but to place, creating a 30-year cycle of removing Black and brown children from families that were impacted by the war on drugs and the criminal justice system. The average drug charge can have an individual in jail up to 34 months, according to the Adoption State Funding Act. And it takes 15 to 22 months through the Adoption State Funding Act to get yourself together as far as get employment, housing, child care under the child welfare standard guidelines. Many formerly incarcerated people come from families that at least 80% of them have had some type of run-in with the law, which could lead to family members not being able to step up and contend to get their loved ones that are languishing in the child welfare system. I have a slideshow I would like to show you guys, so I'm going to share my screen so we can talk about the racial disproportionalities. So give me a second. Okay, so I wanted to present so you guys don't have to see all this other stuff. But nevertheless, the Family Reunification, Equity and Empowerment Project, FREE Project. The FREE Project is funded by the Rosenberg Foundation, a leading edge fellowship of Starting Over Inc., which is based in Corona. The FREE Project is working to reduce the number of children in foster care by examining current laws, policies, raising awareness of impact that current practices have on desperate. Oh, okay. So, on current laws and policies used on particular populations. I didn't pull up the wrong one. There are approximately 430,000 foster youth nationwide, despite the child's welfare efforts to prevent the removal of children from their parents. The number of children in foster care has been increasing. Currently, we are at an all-time high as the demand for foster parents is far higher than the supply. And factors like parental opioid addictions and criminal convictions are forcing more children to be removed from their homes. The prevalence of racial disproportionality. Hold on real quick. A significant amount of research has been documented that underrepresentation of certain racial and ethnic groups, including African American, Native American, in the child welfare system, when compared with the representation of the general population, is overwhelming. Parental and child annihilation during the dependency process is heartbreaking, and our children are identified by CPS as victims. Our children are entering foster care faster than any other children. Our children are adopted with public and private agency involvements. Our children are also languishing, waiting to be adopted, especially the darker toned skin kids. disproportionate and desperate needs of children and families of color, particularly due to the higher rates of poverty, racial bias, and discrimination exhibited by individuals, caseworkers, mandate reporters, other reporters. The child welfare system factors lack of resources for families of color, culture differences, caseworker characteristics, geographic context such as region, state, or neighborhood, racial ethnic disparity, children out of home, crisis of mass incarceration in communities of color to reduce children's opportunities to receive best possible care under difficult circumstances. Entrenched policies and practices institutionalize our children, weaken vulnerable families, and create barriers to placing children with loving and capable family members when remaining in the home is no longer an option. So more barriers for family reunification is unemployment, homelessness, mental health, and criminal charges. For parents, criminal records can lead to housing instability and make family reunification difficult, if not impossible. Income. Parents with criminal records have lower earning potential and thus often face major obstacles in securing employment and receiving public assistance. Mental health. A significant number of children who enter the child welfare system have experienced trauma that can have profound and lasting negative effects throughout their life. In fact, there is mounting evidence that chronic adverse conditions in a child's background could lead to ongoing issues with social, cognitive, emotional, and behavior well-being. These might include maladaptive behavior, cognitive difficulties, problematic relationships, and more mental health issues. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go to the next one. So, which brings us to this. Parents and adults oftentimes are targeted to lose their children because they do not have the wherewithal to hire lawyers and fight a system. Being Black and brown does not mean you are not a good parent or that you do not love your children or that your child should be removed and placed with strangers. General racial racism looks like neglect. Having family is vital for every individual because no other individual can match up to the love and care that a family will have for you, and no one will invest in you in your bad phases other than your family. Clearly, a family is the most important unit in society. Every individual almost begins his or her life in a family. They grow up through emotional upheavals of being a part of a family, and then go ahead and make their own families and grow life and society. So, which brings me to the end. I would like to make a call of action. I please ask that you educate yourselves, get involved, educate yourself in about the child welfare system, get involved, and see how you can help families reunify with their loved ones languishing in the system, so our children can experience the fullest love and see how they can create their own family and continue the family love. I would just like to thank you guys for working with me and allowing me to be on this platform to share my message about family reunification and the barriers that formerly incarcerated people and people with mental illness have because of the child welfare system, leading to sometimes permanent separation. And so that is the end. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Facebook is Family Reunification, Equity, and Empowerment. On Twitter is @family_equity. At YouTube, it is free. And on Facebook, right? And then so I just want you guys to help us lift up the narrative that we can love and care for our children, and our criminal convictions will never stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobbie. That was very helpful, very educational, and exactly what we need to learn a whole lot more about. Our closing hymn is Let It Be a Dance. Please rise in spirit and join us.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance.
For a benediction, please close your eyes and reach out to each other in your thoughts. Feel the connection between us, the interconnected web, joining us as a community, a church family. Our benediction is May We Never Rest by Reverend Dr. John Cummins. May we never rest until every child of earth in every generation is free from all prisons of the mind and of the body and of the spirit, until the earth and the hills and the seas shall dance, and the universe itself resound with the joyful cry, Behold, I am. Amen, shalom, and blessed be. Thank you, Bobbie, Ebony, Butts, for sharing your valuable time and insight with all of us at UUCR. It is sincerely appreciated, and we hope you will visit us again. I hope everyone on this live Zoom service can stay with us following the slides for a few minutes of discussion with our speaker. This will be included on the video that is posted on our Facebook and YouTube platforms. Thank you. Okay. So for everybody, we are going to be doing something a little different following the speakers. We have discovered that we get so enthusiastic in talking after services that we go on, and which I think gets a little abusive of the speaker, who kind of gets caught. And we then run into subsequent like chat time. And then those of us who have meetings after that, we end up just being exhausted. So we are going to have this open for 15 minutes following the service, which means at 11:20, this is going to end. So let's talk with Bobbie. Questions, discussion.
Thank you, Bobbie.
One thing I
Thank
want to
you.
say. One thing I want to say real quick, and then I will leave it to everybody else, is thank you so much, Bobbie. And it brought to my mind, I know as a psychologist that having worked with lots of different populations, is that people don't realize that even in very, very dysfunctional homes, it is more damaging to remove a child from a dysfunctional home, unless it's really severe, than to leave them there and work with the family. If the children, if at all possible, need to stay with their families or be reunited as quickly as possible, as long as the family is getting help. So growing up in foster care is very damaging.
I love my UUs, and I'm sorry it took so long. I should have spoke last year, but I just been going through a few things, and so I was able to ground myself the last week, and so I can just bring it to y'all, because I know social justice team is alive and we're hitting the ground at the UU, and I love that. And when it comes to family love, I just wanted to highlight that parents are mourning children that are not dead, and children are mourning, or children are feeling lost and left out and unwanted. And not to continue to grow this vicious cycle that we've been going for 30 years, let's try to help reunify some of these kids to their families, despite criminal convictions. I mean, the ones that have nothing to do with children, you know, and I'm not saying excuse what kind of crime they have done, but if they have paid their debt to society by doing their time and offer parole and probation, give them a chance to get their loved ones, because I know when I lost my children in 2011, at least 95% of my family is affected by the criminal justice system. So it left a lot, the ones who I trusted, had a connection with, that I had a bond with because of different characteristics, or we look alike, or funny quirks we do, you know, to just make sure, just in case I wasn't able to attain my children back. Thank God I was, but it took me 6 years, and I know my criminal record had a big, my race, my skin color, my criminal record, and the way that I talk, because I don't know how not to be my authentic self. it took 6 years for my kids to return. And so with this family reunification project that is funded by the Rosenberg Foundation and Starting Over Inc., um, Vanya, my boss, Vanya Quarles, is amazing. And she brought this project to life. And so we've been working it for the last 2 years. We just got our author to back our family reunification bill. It should come out on the 10th. I will make sure I let the UUs know, uh, the social justice team know what bill we have, because I will be asking for a letter of support if it's agreed. And so I just know that we want to try to nip this mental health illness in the bud. And if we can try to nip it in the bud by reuniting families and addressing them with real-time resources and addressing root problems and encouraging and not making people feel less than because of the CPS has been in their life or ashamed. Like, we have to understand that it is a system that makes trillions of dollars and it's not going to go away. And so we need to make an apparatus, which is the free Family Reunification Equity Empowerment Program, to help navigate these parents to stay in the race to get their kids so they don't give up and think that they can't. How does your organization, thank you, Hannah. How does your organization need donations for baby items? Yes, Hannah, we can get together. I will double back. Bernie and Adam have my email. So I'll reach out to them. Thank you, Hannah. I can go on and on about this, right?
Yeah.
I like
So,
how you. Sorry.
Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead,
Oh
Drew.
no, I was just gonna say I like the PowerPoint slide where you're talking about adopted children and kind of how they're affected by that dislocation factor. So because I come from that type of background, so I know what it's like to very fragmented and you're just kind of dysfunctional because you don't know how to mirror like proper social interaction. So I just thought that was interesting.
Thank you. And that's one of the things I like to lift up constantly, is because when a child is placed somewhere else, the texture, the air is different. The texture of the couch, everything is different, despite what took place to get the child removed. And it's like 20% of our kids are in foster care because of real neglect. Not general neglect, real neglect, and sexual abuse. So we have 80% of kids in there on general neglect that could be returned home or returned to a family member that is willing to take, but because of the war on drugs, a lot of Black and brown families have this disproportionate place in here, because I had a lot of family members that wanted to step up, but then they were like, "Oh, I've been in trouble. They're gonna do this." And then I had other family members who did have crimes or convictions, but their house was dirty, and they would end up taking their children too. So I was like, I had to work really, really hard. It took me 2 years to like simmer down, because I really thought I wasn't doing anything wrong. Right? Because I had been raising my kids. I had been living that lifestyle all my life. I didn't think that, it was, I've heard it was bad, but it was just, and I was able to raise my kids for 11 years before they had stepped in. So I just didn't understand. So, but after 2 years of doing everything, not missing a drug test, not missing a visit, not missing a court date, being consistent, showing up, asking questions, being a part of different programs, going back, volunteering, that's how I stumbled across Terrence and Adam, out on a visit with my son, and they were having a protest about Fidel Castillo, say it, Adam.
Philandro Castile, right?
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so. I said it right. Okay. Yeah. And so I took my son down there on a visit because he's dark skinned. He doesn't look like he did at that time. He's 16 now, but at the time he was 11. He was 11 or 12, and he looked like a 17-year-old. And I just wanted you to use Adam and Terrence's voice to echo what I've been saying to my son, because I didn't know at the time if I would ever get my kids back, right? But I had to make sure I tried every chance I got to instill, hope and have somebody back up the words that I say to him. And so that's how I met Terrence and Adam. And ever since then, whatever they do, I support whatever I can do, whatever I can go, wherever my hands can help. Adam was my first I loved, right? And he's allowed me to love all y'all. And I've been there to speak just about, the All of Us Are None. And I've been to a few services. Bob, I really miss Bob. Eric, his wife, I was so happy that I got to see her one last time when I went down there to pay my respects for Bob. I just love my UUs, and I don't have a problem coming back and speaking some more, especially when our bill is introduced, right? So we can get momentum. And if there's any more questions,
Thank
because
you.
I can go on
for-
and on.
Yeah, thank you for
Alec?
speaking,
I think
Bobbie.
Alec has one.
And especially considering Bonnie's comment, it makes me wonder what is there any good that CPS can do, or is there anything that we can do that would make CPS more effective and not cruel?
So what we can do is make a call to the RFA office in Sacramento and ask that they respond to people's appeals to get their loved ones or their children languishing out, to respond in a decent time within 90 days, right? So because the longer that the kid is out of the home, the more harm is being caused to the kid and to the family as they try to figure out what to do in a system that was designed to help but hurts more, right? Especially when the children are out of placement. So, okay, Hannah, I got your email. I'm gonna copy it and paste it where I have it.
Let me
And
just add to what
so,
you
and then so I also do since COVID, I've had one protest, but before that, we usually rally in front of the child dependency courts in Cyber Riverside and Los Angeles County. And we let them know, like, hey, we can love and care for our children. Our criminal convictions will never stop us loving from them. They don't give our children real time or explanations on why we can't be for them. And if our children, like I was talking about the Adoption State Family Act, if our children are under 3 years old, we have 15 to 22 months to get whatever they stay together, or our kids, our rights can be terminated and our children are put up for adoption. And nine times out of 10, Black and brown children are deemed to have issues, and because of culture differences, so they're put on medication, which makes it even harder for them to adopt. And so they just are languishing in the system, going from one house to one house. And if a parent doesn't adopt a child, they can 7-day a kid or emergency place them, and then they go out of home placement. And now in Riverside County, we've been moving our kids out of the county, so it's making it harder. It's making it harder for families to be able to visit because they're moving the kids out of county.
want about in general.
So I hope that helped, Alec. Somewhere,
Yes, thank
and
you.
I will constantly reach out to see if when I do start back out doing protests or going out and having public forums in front of their offices, because they don't want to give us a meeting so we can sit at the table to work together to see, because all my parents are like, okay, Bobbie, what bill are you supporting? It is a family reunification bill by Skinner. It should be introduced on the 10th. So it will have its number then, and then I will double back. But just knowing that, we have a chance to increase family love and decrease mental illness and trauma through family reunification for the formerly incarcerated individual trying to get their loved one out is going to be what we need to do moving forward in this world. Thank you guys again for allowing me to be a part. And go ahead, Bonnie.
I wanted to add in real quickly to what you were saying and Alex's question about Child Protective Services. The fact that Child Protective Services, like so many of our services, is way underfunded. And so you've got one CPS worker with hundreds of kids on their caseload, and they are required to see every kid with X amount of frequency, but that means that they can't spend any actual time doing anything. And it's just an impossible situation for the workers. Therefore, things that get missed or are inadequately taken care of because they have impossible jobs. And they have the ability to require and provide counseling for the family and for the kids and doing all kinds of things, except they don't have the time or resources to do it. So it's
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Jade.
Sorry, Jade is my daughter. My name is Celia Fernandez Sutton. Nice to meet you guys. My son was on here last week talking with his lizard for a long time and was really excited to participate. I just wanted to come and chime in just for a minute. I'm a social worker, a licensed clinical social worker, and I have committed my life, literally committed my life to helping and do my part with equality and social justice. And literally, I feel like I was genuinely born to be a social worker, and not like a CPS social worker, but what I call a real social worker. Not that some CPS social workers are not real social workers. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of them, and a lot of them are in the same mindset that I am, which is getting in this to help families stay together, be together, and live a healthy and normal life, because it makes me very emotional thinking about it and talking about it, because I have spent 10 years of my life doing what is considered traditional case management social work. And now that I'm licensed, I've been a therapist for a few years, and I have seen it from both sides. I've done foster family agency social work, helping kids once they've been placed in a home, try to adjust to everything in their life being changed. If us as adults even moved a home abruptly, didn't have our things, we didn't have our family, we would be traumatized. And these kids really, really, really are just being displaced. And I think our society has minimized and really normalized that. And it's not right, it's not fair. And now, being a therapist for several years, I've seen it from the opposite side, where kids come to me and they don't know how to adjust to everything that's going on. And it's so traumatic. It really, really is. And then the adults that I see, because I see children and adults who grew up through that, and how they carried the trauma from this childhood, and how they're trying to be normal in their interactions with their own families, with their friends, with their coworkers, and they don't know how to do that. It's so tragic. It really, really, really is. So I think that just like you were saying, that the system needs to be changed. The reunification process needs to be changed. It's crazy that any family has to jump through hoops for 2 years to get a kid put in their home when they really shouldn't be. Everybody has a past, has something they need to fix, has something they need to change. And it's not okay that people have to go through that extent. I have a family member, as a matter of fact, who She lost her kiddos, was not able to get them back. Another family got them, but it took the grandmother a year and probably 4 months to get the kiddos because the person she lived with, her partner, had a record. They ended up placing the kids, but why did it take that long? It shouldn't take that long. It's crazy. Meanwhile, we know that being with family is the best place that a child could be if they're not with their mom and their dad.
I can see that all of their people are really anxious to talk, and this is wonderful. And as I said, that we are actually over the time that we'd set for this discussion now. That's fine. I'd love to see the energy, but we do have chat time that's starting at 11:30. And Bobbie, we'd love to have you join us if you want to. To get the chat time link, you would need to go to our website, which is uuchurchofriverside.org. And you'll find the link there to join chat time. And that goes for an hour or sometimes much longer. Nobody's going to cut that off. And I can see other people have their hands raised. Please join the chat time, or put something into me on chat here if it's urgent. But we need to end this and go over to chat time in about 5 minutes. And I will see all of you there.
All right, and thank you for being an ally and going the extra mile for your families. It's very appreciated, and I will go to the chat time. Just give me a few seconds, and I'll be in there.
Great. Thank you very much. Bye,
No problem.
everybody.